Hi, second grade. It's Mr. C. I'm coming to you to read a book and do a worksheet today. Today, we are going to read about hibernating since it's kind of what we're doing right now. Everyone's stuck at home, not a lot to do, and then some animals actually do that for whole periods of time and sleep for months and months on end. So, we are going to do a little reading. You're going to follow along, and then we're going to complete this worksheet. So we're going to pick two animals from the story. We're going to talk about their differences on these areas, and then in the middle, we'll talk about what they have in same, and then we'll write a few things out. All right, so let's get started. Hibernation. Hibernation. Our table of contents. Food is scarce, page 4. What is hibernating, page 5. How do they stay alive, page 7. Where do animals hibernate, 8. Who hibernates, 13. And then we'll be done. Food is scarce. Many places have cold, wet winters. Some animals in these places have trouble finding food in the winter. Food is scarce during this time. Does anyone know what scarce is? Let's look back in the text. Some animals in these places have trouble finding food in the winter. Food is scarce. So if they're having trouble finding food in the winter, that means it's hard to find. And then they're saying food is scarce. So scarce probably means it's hard to find. So food is scarce during this time. Some animals migrate to warmer places to find food and return in the spring. I know you've heard of animals migrating before. We have some animals that are actually returning from migration. Does anyone know what they are? Geese, that's right. Other animals hibernate to survive the winter months. What is hibernating? Hibernation is like a very sound sleep. Not even loud noises can wake the animals up. Hibernating animals sleep for days or weeks at a time. Hibernating animals breathe very slowly. Their heart rates beat slower. They are using little energy and they do not need to eat. Can anyone think of an example of what it is to be hibernating? Yep, that's one. They sleep for days or weeks. Anyone have another one? Good job. They breathe very slowly and their hearts beat slower. When a warm-blooded animal hibernates, its body temperature drops until it is almost as cold as the temperature outside. A cold-blooded animal's body temperature always matches the temperature outside. When a cold-blooded animal gets too cold, it hibernates. Can anyone tell us an animal that is cold-blooded? That's right. Snakes are cold-blooded animals. What does cold-blooded mean? Let's look back. A cold-blooded animal's body temperature always matches their temperature outside. So they change their temperature to match the temperature that's outside. So if it's 60 degrees outside, then a snake's body temperature is 60 degrees. Now the other one is warm-blooded. Let's take a look at warm-blooded. Can anyone tell me a warm-blooded animal? That's right. Groundhogs are warm-blooded animals. When a warm-blooded animal hibernates, its body temperature drops until it is almost as cold as the temperature outside. Can you think of anyone else that is cold-blooded? Are we cold-blooded? Like if you went outside without a jacket, would you get cold? Yep, because you're warm-blooded. How do they stay alive? Hibernating animals eat lots of food before winter. They store the food in their bodies as fat. Their bodies live off this fat while they sleep. It takes very little energy to keep hibernating animals alive. What's this guy? A raccoon, that's right. So raccoons collect food. Can you think of any other animals that collect food to store for hibernating? Squirrels? I can think of a really big animal that hibernates too. It has claws, really furry, big teeth. That's right, bears. Where do animals hibernate? Look at all these snakes. Oh, because some snakes hibernate together. I don't know about you guys, but that grosses me out. I hate snakes, but we'll read about them. Hibernating animals also need a safe place to sleep. They need to be away from the cold and hidden from hungry predators. Some animals, like bats, hibernate in caves. Has anybody heard this word before? Predators? Let's look back. Hidden from hungry predators. Do you think anything eats snakes? Yeah, I definitely think things eat snakes. I know eagles eat snakes, so an eagle would be a predator because predators look for prey to eat. Hibernating snakes sleep underground in burrows. Frogs and turtles sleep in mud at the bottom of ponds. Some mice hibernating in winter nests. Some animals, like squirrels, store food where they hibernate. Let's look at this. This is a snake burrow. So that looks like it's above ground, and they make a tunnel to an area below ground to hibernate. So a burrow is just an underground home. Many people think of bears when they think of hibernation, but a bear is not really a hibernating animal. A bear often wakes up and moves around in winter. Oh, I guess I was wrong. So they don't hibernate. Also, a bear's body temperature doesn't get as cold as that of other warm blooded hibernating animals. The bear's sleep is called a torpor. A torpor is a deep sleep, but not as deep as hibernation. That is something completely new to me. I've never known that. All right. So bears actually don't hibernate. They do something different because they get up in the winter and move around. Whereas if you're hibernating, you don't wake up at all. Like a hibernating animal, though, a bear prepares a place to sleep for winter. It fills its winter den with leaves and tree branches. This bed helps keep the bear's body heat in while it sleeps. Layers of snow on the den also keep the heat inside. This helps keep the bear warm. Like birds, some butterflies fly to warmer areas in the winter, but many insects hibernate. They just need a safe, warm place to sleep, just like other hibernating animals. Some hibernate in holes in the ground. Others hibernate under tree bark. Some insects, like many ladybugs, hibernate in buildings, including houses. Maybe that's why we see ladybugs inside sometimes, because I've seen them at school and they're inside and I'm always wondering what they're doing. Who flies to warmer areas? Birds. I think we talked about geese earlier because they're just coming back. They were in summer warmer and now they're coming back because winter is leaving Chicago. Who hibernates? Warm blooded animals like groundhogs, chipmunks, and prairie dogs hibernate. Cold blooded animals like snakes, frogs, turtles, insects, and lizards hibernate. Here, this is an example of a warm blooded animal. Badgers are warm blooded animals and they hibernate. A Gila monster looks like some kind of lizard, so he's a reptile, and he is cold blooded and he also hibernates. Some animals, like bats, some squirrels, and some mice, hibernate all winter long. Some animals wake up to eat, as bears do. Raccoons, badgers, and skunks might wake up to eat on a warm winter day in the spring. All the hibernating animals wake up. The end. All right, so now if you can get a piece of paper, we're going to try and do some comparing and contrasting, or talk about two animals and talk about their similarities or their differences. So if you don't have a pen and paper, why don't you run and get one, and we'll wait like 10 seconds so that you can have your paper and follow along with us. Should I count? I'm going to count. I'll give you a timer. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. I hope you're back. We're going to get started. So the first thing we need to do, as always, is put our name. So I'm going to put my name. because I know all of you always forget to put your name, and then we're stuck trying to figure out whose paper it is. So I'm going to put Mr. C at the top. And I know it's not on the line, but we'll have to do with that. All right, so now we're going to pick two animals. So I'm going to go back in the text to find two animals. I was actually really excited about the bear. So my first animal is going to be a bear. And then I'll do my least favorite animal. I kind of told you guys earlier because I do not like these things. I think they're gross. So I'll do a snake for my other animal. So let me just put this over here. So snake. You don't have to do the same animals. I'm just giving you an example, but if you want to do them with us, you can do that too. So now we have to look at this chart. So I put these boxes in here because I needed somewhere to type. But if you just make two big ovals and then have parts of them overlap like this, so that we have somewhere where both the circles are touching. In the middle, where both circles are touching, we're going to put the things that make them the same. And on the outsides, we'll put the things that make them different. So I know one thing right off the bat that makes them the same. So I'm going to start with their animals. What else can we think about that they're the same? Anyone have any ideas? If you do, write them down. Just because I'm not writing them down doesn't mean that you don't have to or that you can't. So another one of my things is what else? Oh, they're all living. All right. Let's see. What was this whole thing about? Oh, it was about hibernating. Where do they hibernate? I think snakes and bears hibernate in the same place. Let's look through the text to see if we can find where do animals hibernate? Okay. They hibernate in caves. All need a safe place to sleep. All right, that doesn't tell us. Let's keep looking. Oh yeah. Hibernating snakes sleep underground in burrows. Do bears sleep in burrows? Let's read. A bear often wakes up and moves around in winter. Also, a bear's blah, blah, blah. So that doesn't talk about that. Let's go to another page. Oh, so bears sleep in dens and snakes sleep in burrows. So I'm going to add that to my differences. Bears sleep, sleep in dens. I guess, well, they sleep. Okay. And then snakes hibernate in, what do they hibernate in? Do you remember? Hibernating snakes sleep underground in burrows. All right. And burrows. What else makes them different? What about how they look? I mean, they're very different animals, right? So let's go. What's covering bears? That's right. They have fur. So I'm going to put bears have fur. I don't think snakes have fur. So what do snakes have? Snakes have, what do we call that? Scales? Yeah, we'll call it, I don't know if it's scales, but I'm going to call it scales because I don't know right now. All right, what else can we think about the animals? The things that make them the same and the things that make them different. So let's go back. Dun, 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 dun. So I'm looking, hibernating animals eat lots of food before winter. They store the food in their bodies as fat. Their bodies live off this fat while they sleep. All right. I think they would do that the same because they're both sleeping for long periods of time. So they eat a lot before what season? What did it say? Let's look back. Eat a lot of food before winter. All right. So I gave you some examples, and now I want you to finish it. Whatever animals you picked, you can do the bear or the snake or any other animals we came across. You're going to talk about things they have in common, which goes under the same. And then you're going to talk about things they have different or their differences. And you're going to put those on the circles on the outside. And then I'll give you an example because I'm going to want you to write a sentence. So my sentence about them being the same are bears and snakes. What are, okay, one of mine is their animals. So I'm going to put bears and snakes are both animals. That is a great sentence. All right. And then I'm going to let you do the different one by yourself. And you can tell me a different, but it has to be a whole sentence. Okay. All right. Well, I hope to see you guys again soon. Hope you're doing okay, doing all right. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you when we get back. Bye, guys.